Finger, and it would disappear in thin air. You see, she was famous for that. You see, so the gods of that area were the Orishas. You see, so the Olmecs is actually the Orishas. You see, and like we said again, there's so many, in India there's 7 holy rishas. There's 7 African powers. There's 7 holy rishas. So how do you get the 7 African powers called the Orishas? Then in India you got the 7 holy rishas of the Pleiades. That's 7 African powers, but there's an 8th one, Oshosi, which is Orion the Hunter. And Orion the Hunter, with his dog, is the dog star. It's got, they say that the 7 holy Orishas and Orion the Hunter, they are connected. So Oshosi was Orion the Hunter, and there's the 7 holy Orishas of the Pleiades and Orion the Hunter. In the middle of Orion is the star Sirius. To show you how this thing breaks down. Now, in this Oshosi aspect, if he's Orion, Orion in Egypt is Osiris, or Osar. Now, in 2000, to show, because this Oshosi's thing, he fought to come through the last 2 months. You see. He's come up now and come to find out that Oshosi was the god, that they took so many people from his village in Africa till his legend died out. And they know very little about Oshosi on the continent, but all Oshosi stuff is based on in the West. Those Africans that they took, you see, they kept Oshosi in the West. And it's about like our situation, whereas they took us from Africa, the people know very little of us as identification. We not them. And we look back and say, I ain't them Africans. You see? And they said, we ain't them niggas there. You see? And so, that's that whole story of Oshosi. Now the key here is Oshosi is Orion. Like Osiris is Orion. Now there's a guy by the name of, I talk about him, Dan Winters. You can get some of his stuff on the internet. And all, but they kicked him. He's one of the few people got kicked out of the country for giving a certain amount of knowledge. Yeah. White boy. Few many white people got kicked out of the country. First they tried to sue and say he plagiarized somebody's stuff.
I got his book. He was going off.
Yeah.
Talking about the blood and everything.
All that.
Going off.
Then they said, no, you got to go. Fuck that. You see. Yeah. So they got white people that kicked out the country. They got Philip Agee, which was that guy was the CIA agent. Yeah. They kicked him out. I think they kicked your boy out that did Iceman Inheritance.
Michael Crichton. Bradley. Yeah.
Michael Bradley. Yeah. So you got to go. You know, talk shit about us. He moved to Canada. So they will kick you out of the country. Don't let nobody fool you. You know, it ain't no land of freedom. It's a land of what you can get away with. You see, so, but in his book in the 2000, I think, and this what got him kicked out. He kept saying, there's a black hole in the heart of Orion. In the heart of the Orion star system, there's a black hole. And in this black hole, it's either we getting sucked into it or something is being birthed from it. You see, then all of a sudden this Oshosi cat comes through. And Oshosi really just represents, if you look at it as an energy, it represents us supplanted in a new world and forgotten in the old world. And sometimes forgotten in the old world, it's kind of hard to not know who the African Americans is, because that's the template for the whole planet. They're going to show somebody black, they're going to show African American around the world. And we celebrate it that way. It's not talking about that. It's talking about they don't recognize you as a culture and customs that they are identified with. Because we are foreign. You see, we are foreign. You see what I'm saying? You see, so that whole Shoshi thing, here goes again, based on this black hole in the heart of Orion, then this old Shoshi shows up. You see what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden, he's sitting at the table as the eighth Orisha. As the eighth Orisha, I'm telling you, there's a debt. See, they got people, in Italy, they got tarot card companies, and they celebrate us. So they got an African-American tarot sold in Italy. The Llewellyn Book Company here just picked it up. It's been out about 2-3 years. They got a Cleopatra tarot, they got a Ramesses tarot, you see, and they got Afro-Brazilian tarot. Right. But they got one company, now that's a company that creates tarot cards for everybody. But there's one company in Italy, I think it's in Italy, and the only thing they create one tarot deck. It's called the Hemmitt tarot deck. And in this tarot deck, if you get it, it tells stories of stuff that's happening in the future. And so they got Oshosi sitting at the table with all the other 7 Orishas. And like I said, they drinking from this skull some kind of beer or some kind of liquor or something, and then they got Obatala turning up the bottle to his head, which he don't supposed to do, because Obatala, whenever he get drunk, he create retarded children. Now, it's ironic, because the retarded children might not necessarily mean retarded, you know, that type, but it could also just mean deficient. Because there was a Bible out down in Virginia. He wasn't a racist because he had a group of black people and he had a group of white people in the same class. So you can't say that if you were racist, you wouldn't have white people in your class.
Exactly. Right.
So whenever they would give the reading or who their head was, he would tell all the white people, your head is Obatala. But why our head can only be Obatala? And this is and this guy is good. This guy got a he had a box coming in this country with a spirit in it that talks. Some spirit. He couldn't get it through customs. If you ever heard me talking in the London tape, there's a brother that opened for me named Israel. Now Israel is a king in Nigeria. His father was over a little small village, and he's a king over there. And he might go visit him once a year, but he lives in England. He don't want to live in Nigeria. He don't want to live in Nigeria. He got one of those. He got one of those heads, a box with a talking head in it. That talk. It's a spirit that talk to you. He got one in Nigeria. So this brother in Virginia is real hooked up. So when he say all of y'all Obatala, he's not talking. He mean your deficiency. You see, your deficiency, as far as not having a certain amount of melanin, or something, or something like that. So that's very interesting. On that particular part that about these Europeans and all of them being the children of Obatala. But in this particular deck, the Hemmitt deck, they got Obatala chugging down a bottle, and they make sure the other ones just got their little glasses, and they dipping this beer something out of a big skull, and let Buzz at the head of the table. But in this particular one, they give Obatala a bottle. They're like, well, you ain't been able to drink for so many years, so we're going to give you the big fifth. You see what I'm saying? He's chugging it down, too. And all. So my point, but the point I'm trying to make here is the Hemmitt deck is talking about, the Hemmitt is a Brazilian type outfit as far as the candomblé or whatever. And what they might be saying here is, with Obatala chugging down that liquor, is what became of us. You see what I'm saying? Us being a bunch of lushes and stuff, or drunks, because they do have the Temple of Borobudur, and I got the book of the Temple of Borobudur, and it's got about 1,000 frames, but they got us on the Temple of, and that's in Java. And Java is an island off the coast of I think Thailand and Indonesia. And anyway, they got the temple of Borobudur, look like a spaceship. And in there, they got a